All right. Shalom. Shalom. All right, everybody. So we're here once again. What's this? The fourth day of Hanukkah. Fourth day of Hanukkah, and the next new moon is December 6th at sunset to December 7th at sunset, which is going to be called Friday, right? Friday night. The Shabbat is going to be the new moon. Okay, right? So-called Friday, which is going to be the what's today? The third, fourth, fifth, sixth, Monday, two. Okay, so Thursday, so-called Thursday night is going to be the the new moon. All right, so-called Thursday night, and then Passover is going to be April 18th to April 19th. Sunset. That's Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the last day, which is the Holy Convocation, and the first day is Holy Convocation. The last day is going to be April 24th to April 25th. Okay, and when the holy day, when the one of the feast days of Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, falls on the Shabbat, a Sabbath, then we can cook on that day also. Okay. All right. So of course, you know, we are servants of the only true and living God, the Most High Power, Yahweh, who sent His Son Yahawashi Hamashiach, which is a black man that died for our sins, who the world knows as Jesus Christ, but His real name is Yahawashi Hamashiach. We know that the so-called indigenous peoples, the blacks, Latinos, indigenous peoples in the Americas, are the children of Israel, are the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. You know that the so-called Arabs are the Israelites, the Chinese and the Japanese are Moabites and Ammonites. We know that the so-called Europeans are the Edomites, the Bible talks about, and we know that the so-called indigenous Africans are from the family of Ham. All right, Marciala Vargas, yo dije antes, pero vamos a tratar de hacer más enseñanzas de la cultura, la historia, las enseñanzas sobre nuestra gente, nuestra historia. Vamos a tratar de hacer más en español porque la mayoría de nuestra gente hablan ¿cuál idioma? Español, ¿verdad? Aquí en México, en Centroamérica y el Caribe, en Puerto Rico, Cuba, en como Santo Domingo, la República Dominicana y Venezuela, Colombia, okay, hablan español la mayoría de nuestra gente. Y vamos a tratar de hacer más enseñanzas en español para comunicarnos más con la gente nuestra que no hablan inglés. So we're in the book of Leviticus, of Genesis chapter 41, and we're dealing with Joseph. Joseph had a dream that he was going to be the ruler over his brothers, and right now he's a slave, and he was taken from the pit, from slavery, and he was put into Potiphar's house. All right. Well, he was taken out of slavery, the slave pit, and he was put before Pharaoh because Pharaoh had a dream. All right. Pharaoh had a dream. So now Joseph is about to interpret Pharaoh's dream about the seven plenty, and the seven little, the seven fat cows and the seven full ears of grain, and the seven small ears of grain, nothing on, and the seven small cows with no meat and skinny. All right. So now we're going to go into the dream. Joseph is about to appear before Pharaoh, and as he goes before Pharaoh is going to talk to him and recount his dream to him. All right. So we're going to start in chapter 41. And we're going to start with verse 15, right? Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 41, verse 15.
Wait. Let me see. because sometimes they have these verses are different in what we're using, the English Bible versus a format in the Hebrew Bibles. All right, so we're in Parashah 2 right now. The Pharaoh called Joseph. All right, so we in the same place. Pharaoh called Joseph, changed clothes, and came to Pharaoh. All right, so we're on point now. All the time, Fife. Okay, so everybody Gucci? All right, so let's go ahead and start from verse 15. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 41, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream up to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. Aliyah shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream.
So Joseph is saying, I don't interpret the dreams. It's Aliyah, it's Yahweh that gives you the answer to your dreams. And Pharaoh said, Yo, I heard about you. So Joseph's fame had come even to the leader of Egypt. Even he knew about Joseph and the ability that Yahweh gave Joseph to properly interpret the dream. Okay, to properly interpret the dream. So we see in the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 14, it says, For Aliyah speaketh once, yea, twice, yet men perceive it not. So Pharaoh had the same dream twice. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. So the Most High pulls you to do his purpose, what he wants you to do. And remember, the verse is specifically saying when it comes upon you twice. Okay? It says, For Aliyah speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. All right? So man may not understand that. Okay, this thing twice is happening because Joseph's going to tell us that when you dream about something twice, that it's established, that this is what's going to happen, that this is what's going to pop off. If you're a servant of the Most High, that can be used for righteousness and you can be accurate. If you serve in Satan and Hashatan, it's being used for wickedness or being used just to throw you off. So if you ain't really true and sincere about serving the Most High, then you got to watch out for these different types of dreams. All right, but if you're serving the one and true and living God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you dabbling in witchcraft, if you dabbling in idolatry, if you dabbling in different sins, then now the Most High ain't gonna just be revealing stuff to you, as some type of vessel. He's revealing it to Pharaoh. Why? So he can put Joseph over the whole project, and then Joseph is gonna save Egypt, save the children of Israel. All right, go ahead. Call your verse.
Genesis chapter 41, verse 17.
And
Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold.
So once again, the bank of the river representing his, the river represents that God, the river god in Egypt, the god of the Nile. Okay, go ahead.
And behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in a meadow.
So the river is giving us 7 kine, 7 good animals, this God. So these are gods that they worship. They worship the cow. They worship the river. All right, they worship the river. So he's seeing things in images about stuff that he worships, stuff that he looks to reverently. All right, go ahead.
And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed.
So these 7 weak cows, poor, no meat on them, came up, which represents the years that they're not going to have any harvest coming in. They're not going to have any harvest that's going to be able to sustain them for 7 years of nothing. So when we look in the book of Leviticus chapter 25, the Most High tells us about a 7-year cycle that he shows us what to do and how to do it. So he's using the same 7-year cycle that he gave us. The foreshadow of it is what's happening in Egypt. See, the things that's happening in the lives of our fathers, our ancestors, these things repeat themselves a lot of times in the Torah and in the rest of the book. And they have specific meanings. But we have to look at the whole picture to see what is the meaning of this particular thing that we're reading and what's the deeper spiritual understanding that Yahweh wants to give us about it. All right. So if we don't do that, then we're just thinking that, oh, it's just a good story of Joseph. Oh, Joseph saved the day and like it's over. But no, this story right here is actually showing you in these last days, you got to be preparing yourself. That's what the whole history about Joseph is telling you. Be prepared, be humble, be loving, be kind, be merciful, be forgiving, and be ready. Because if you don't, then people you love could die. Right? All right, go ahead.
Such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness.
Mm-hmm.
And the lean and the ill-favored kind did eat up the first 7 fat kind. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill-favored as at the beginning. So I awoke.
So nothing that they did in those 7 years, you couldn't tell that they did anything when they didn't have any crops growing for 7 years when there was a famine. That's what it means when it says these 7 skinny cows ate the 7 fat cows, and you couldn't even tell that they had eaten. All right, go ahead, Shakata.
And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk.
All right.
Full and good. And behold.
So these are 7 ears of corn, or grain rather, which we know corn is an old English or Teutonic word that means grain. Oh, I wasn't saying you had to come over here. I was just saying to, I wasn't saying to come up to the teaching area. I was just saying to, you was like you were getting sleepy over there. That's all. All right, go ahead.
And behold, 7 ears withered thin and blasted with the east wind.
All right.
Sprung up after them.
All right, go ahead.
And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears.
Mm-hmm.
And I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me.
So Yahweh stopped their understanding. Yahweh stopped their brains. They couldn't tell what these things meant. To us, we're looking like it's simple, but they can't say what it means. Because if they say what it means and they're wrong, they're going to get killed. They're going to be a fraud. It's not going to go well with them. So they can't just say, yeah, I know what it means. There's no guessing. You're going to play guessing games with Pharaoh. I think a lot of brothers, when they go out and teach the Bible, the Torah, the scriptures, they play guessing games. Well, this prophecy is talking about this. Well, this is how you're supposed to do the new moon. Well, this is how you're supposed to figure out Passover. And this is the equinox and all of that stuff. But you guessing, bro. A lot of people are guessing at the scriptures because they don't know. And they got too much pride to say, I don't know. And they listen to the most convincing argument and they go with that. But we can't guess with the Most High. It is what it is. We can't say, I think, or maybe. All right, go ahead.
And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one. Elohim hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do.
So Joseph is saying, yo, your dream, everything that's happening with you, the Most High is showing you what he's going to do. He's showing you what is, his plan. Go ahead.
The 7 good kind are 7 years.
So these are 7 years. So this is talking about a cycle of 7. Once again, we see this in Leviticus chapter. We see this in Leviticus chapter 25. We see the 7 with our father Jacob bowing down to his brother Esau. We see 7 years our father Jacob was working for Leah. 7 years he worked for Rachel. 7 years they had 7 weeks, 7 days we had a marriage feast for Leah. 7 days we had a marriage feast for Rachel. 7 days it was a journey for Laban to catch up with Jacob, right? So we see this 7, 7, 7, and each time we see this 7, it takes us into another phase that's going to what? Blossom and be fruitful. he bowed down to Esau, so Esau blossomed mercy toward him. You know, Rachel, the 7 years serving for Rachel, then getting Leah, then the 7-day celebration blossomed in children, bringing forth fruit. Rachel blossomed in his love that he had for Rachel, and then she brought forth 2 children for him, and she died. You know, Most High received her soul in his glory. She died with the second baby, Benjamin. Okay. Now, when we go into on the 7 days, 7 days Laban took to catch up with Jacob, and then we caught up with him on the 7th day. What happened? You know, he got fly with him, like, yo, you know, you stole my stuff. He said, I ain't steal nothing. So then Jacob, in his what? In his pride, said, well, we ain't take nothing. If you find something, you can kill the person. Now realizing that it was his favorite wife that had stolen her father's idols, right? And put them in a camel bag. And she said, oh, I'm on my cycle, so I can't get up. Which lasts for how many days? 7 days. See the 7, 7, 7. 7 keep coming up. But now we have what? Now we see the culmination of what is this 7 leading up to? It's like with Moses, 7 days in the mountain, then came out the mountains, 40 days in the mountain, then went up and spent another 40 days into the mountain. All right. A 40 days journey ended up taking how long? 40 years. All right. We have 40 rulers and kings in Yasharallah in Israel. And it all led us up to what? The 40 days in the wilderness of Yahushua. See that? That number, 40 events leading up to what? Salvation for the children of Yasharallah through Yahushua. And these 7 representing what? Joseph being put in his position to bring salvation to the children of Yasharallah and to the whole Levant, to the whole so-called Middle Eastern type world right there. Bringing salvation through showing everybody how to do the grains and storing up the grains. So it's always a culmination of these things that we see in the scriptures. All right, 7 years old in the scriptures, oh, you free. You don't got to be a servant no more. You free now. If you're a Hebrew, if you're a Gentile, sucks to be you. Okay, the Most High said we take them forever to be our servants. All right, continue. What verse you in?
Genesis chapter 41, verse 26.
All right, so Genesis 41, 26, continue on.
The 7 good kind are 7 years.
So the 7 good kind are 7 years. When you have the ability right now to take things and to save things and to preserve things, you got to do that now. You got to do that now. I didn't put that there, did I? You have to do that now. If you have the ability to preserve and take things, put them to the side to save them while you have a lot of stuff, you got to do it now or as soon as possible. Why? Because the time of little is coming. We're going to go into the scriptures on that too. All right, read.
And the 7 good years are 7 years.
All right, 7 good years, 7 years. Go ahead.
The dream is one.
Mm-hmm.
And the 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after him are 7 years. After them are 7 years.
See, the Most High put the thought, the understanding in Joseph's spirit. Go ahead.
And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind.
So Joseph had the knowledge, but he took the knowledge from Pharaoh and gave his understanding. Then from his understanding, he knew how to plan. What was the mazamah? What's the plan for this? How do we break it down? So Joseph is showing us how to walk through wisdom. All right. And he said, this is the righteous thing to do. Then he said, okay, this is what needs to be done. This is how it gets done. And then once that's finalized, the judgment comes, then he does what? Actually doing the knowledge, which is now wisdom. So Joseph actually shows us how to walk through wisdom. It starts with the instruction or the direction from who? From Pharaoh. This is the instruction I got in my dream. Then Joseph comes and says, okay, Yahweh have given the understanding of what needs to be, of this is what's going to happen, which means nothing. You understand what's going to happen. You understand that if you take this water and these beans and put them into a pot and put fire under them, that they're going to what? Cook, right? But if you don't execute that understanding in the real world, what good does your understanding do you? Nothing. So from understanding, now we got to know, okay, what is the mazamah? What is the discretion? What is the plan? So now we got, okay, I got to get the fire, the water, the beans, the pot, and maybe I got to put it underneath. All right, then I got to, when the water, well, let's do a quick boil, put them in a pot, let them sit, and then we pour the water out to try to, some of the gas get released so people don't, get too much flatulence. All right, so now we got that. That's the plan. All right. Now the equity, is it fair? Is it right for me to do this way? Oh, nah, because my grandmother said that she was gonna cook some really special bean dish tonight for us. So I'm not gonna cook these bean dishes. So the knowledge might be right, the understanding might be right, your plan might be right. All right. But is it fair for you to do this thing? Is it balance you to do it? Oh yeah, well, she don't got nothing planned. Okay. Now we're going to justice. Is this a righteous thing for you to do? Nah, because the beans ain't mine, the water ain't mine, the pot ain't mine, the fire ain't mine. And I don't have permission to use it. So now you can't execute it, even though you got everything lined up, because it's not righteous, it's not your plan. But it is your stuff. It belongs to your family. You could use it. Now that's when you come into the fifth pillar of wisdom, which is righteousness, tazadak, justice, tzadadak. So now since you can do that, after that you go to the sixth pillar of wisdom, which is what? Judgment. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. And now when you take all of those 6 steps together and you actually do it, now you're going into kakma, which is wisdom. And then we see Joseph walking through this same process. Pharaoh gives him the instruction. This is the dream. And Joseph said, this is the understanding of the dream. All right, keep reading.
Genesis chapter 41, verse 28.
Uh-huh.
This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
What Elohim is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh.
So now he's saying, Yahweh have showed you what he's going to do. So he's saying what? This is the mazamah. This is the discretion. Everybody see that? This is the plan. Yahweh is showing you what he has planned. So Joseph is showing us the 7 pillars of wisdom. And that's why a couple of lessons back we did it showing how Joseph is what? Is a shadow of wisdom. Because Joseph's whole existence just screams wisdom, 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 what he does and how he does it and how he operates. Okay. Joseph is giving us the 7 pillars of wisdom that we see from Proverbs chapter 1, verse 1 through 5. He's giving us the 7 pillars of wisdom. The same pillars of wisdom that we see repeated, in other parts of Proverbs, but that's the main place where we see those 7 pillars of wisdom at. Okay, that's the main place where we see those 7 pillars of wisdom. Okay, go ahead. Keep reading.
And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine,
mm-hmm.
and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt.
Now, within the wisdom itself, now you can see the equity of it or the balance of it. 7 good, 7 bad. All right? 7 good, 7 bad. So every knowledge, every doctrine that you teach it has to have an equity. What is the balance of it? See, what you think and feel and what you conclude has to be walked through the 7 pillars of wisdom. If you don't know the 7 pillars of wisdom, sometimes it might just come spiritually, naturally to you. But if you know the 7 pillars of wisdom, you can't go wrong with them. If you don't know the 7 pillars of wisdom and you're trying to go into your own imagination and then interpret something and come out with this conclusion, but if that conclusion contradicts the 7 pillars of wisdom, you can't go no further. Give you an example. The Most High said not to put any carvings on your flesh. All right, no scarifications, for the dead, right? So you might have somebody say, well, you know what? I scarified myself for the dead. And when I did that, that's a light or a magnet for other people to say, hey, you an Israelite? Because I see you've got them scars on your arm like that, man. They say, yeah, okay, let's talk about the Most High. But you can't do that. You can't do that. Why? Because it goes against the fifth pillar of wisdom, which is justice, righteousness. It goes against the fourth pillar of wisdom, which is equity. It's not fair. It's not balanced. Everybody understand what I'm saying? First and foremost, what's the first pillar it goes against? What's the first pillar of wisdom? No, that's the second one. Before you, what's the first pillar of wisdom? Anybody? Knowledge. And what knowledge have the Most High given us on putting scars on our body? Huh? Not to do. That's the knowledge he gave us. Not to do it, right? None. You can't do that. So now when you got a doctrine that you're teaching that says you can do it, you immediately are dealing with Satan. Because your immediate doctrine says you can do something that Yahweh said not to do. So who's in charge? You and your experiences and your outcome, or Yahweh? Who's in charge? Yahweh. So you can't go against what he says. That's evil. All right, go ahead and read.
And the famine shall consume the land.
So he's saying the famine is going to consume the land, meaning that the lack of food, the wind, the drought is going to just eat up everything on the land. Nothing's going to be there. Go ahead.
And the plenty shall not be known in the land.
You won't even remember the plenty that you having is not going to be known. Read.
By reason of that famine following, which shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by Elohim, and Elohim will surely bring it to a pass.
So it's a warning. Like, look, it's going to pop off. It's going to pop off. It's a warning. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Okay. Now look at this. So what types of years do we got? 7 of good, 7 of bad. Right? And then you got what? 7 years with Leah and 7 years with to serve for Rachel. So you got them same 7 and the same 7. Right? Now you got Yahushua. When did Yahushua send the Holy Spirit to the disciples to be able to speak in the other languages? The day of what? Anybody? Day of what? Day of Pentecost. See that same 7 and 7, right? Delivered. And then what happened? The truth of Yahushua and the Torah spread throughout everywhere like wildfire. So we always see these patterns in the scriptures. Joseph, 7, 7, Pharaoh, negative, balance. All right. And then we got, of course, chapter 25 of Leviticus, 2 plus 5 is 7. When we go in the air, it talks about the 7 years you release your servant, and then the 7 years of 7, which is the Jubilee. And then when we go back to our father, Jacob, Yaakov, 7 years he served for Leah by mistake, and then 7 years he served for Rachel on purpose. And then with them, you had the 7 weeks, 7 and 7. So these things are what? Are purpose to conclude an ending that Yahweh has already determined. Yahweh already determined for Jacob to marry Leah, Rachel, Bilhah, Zilpah, to have those children. Yahweh have already concluded that 7 years for good, 7 years for bad, famine, so that Joseph can be set up in his position. So when we look at the whole Torah, bam, now we go into Yahushua. Okay, 7 weeks, he did what? He said, okay, now y'all gonna get the gift of speaking in the other languages. Okay, you get the ability to go and speak in these other languages now. So the Holy Spirit come on you, and then that's gonna make everybody believe and want to follow what you're saying, what you're doing. Okay, so you have to read the Torah. It's the foundation for the rest of the whole Bible. If you don't understand it, you're not going to understand the rest of the scriptures and see the meat of what it's talking about. Because the Most High is not going to give it to you unless you weaned off of the milk. That means you understand the Torah. That's the basic, life. The Most High said, this is the way of life. Walk in this. The Torah is life. That's the milk. All right? Go ahead.
Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise.
So now he says, what? Look for a man. All right, so now we went up to the equity part, the balance of it, bad and okay. Now is it fair? Yeah, it's fair for me to do this thing this way. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. No, all right, it's balanced, just not nothing bad. Now the righteous thing we got to do now is that this is the righteousness. This is the good thing that you have to do. This is the act that you have to carry out, and this is what needs to be done. Find out a righteous man. All right. Now that's the proper judgment. So the righteousness is good to do. All right. This is what needs to be done to get this plan working. Is that lawful to do? Yes. Is it right to do? Yes. Okay. Well, what exactly is it? This is my judgment, which is the sixth pillar of wisdom. We're going to do this. Then once you do that, you walk in wisdom. Go ahead.
And set him over the land of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land.
Appoint officers over the whole country. Go ahead.
And take up the fifth part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years, and let him gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh.
So take 20%, right? 20% of the excess you produce. Take 20%. And put it to the side. All right, go ahead.
And let them keep food in the cities.
Now, what do we see this kind of 20? What do we see this 20 again? In the Torah, what do we see that 20 going on like that? Okay, you go to war, you 20. Okay, when you go to war, you 20 years old. When you go to war, you can get into the military, you 20. Okay. What else? How much tithes do you have to pay to the Levites? How much percentage? 10%, right? Then the Levites, how much percentage do they got to give to the priests? 10% también. So that's two groups of 10 making us 20. I'm not saying it's 20% per se, but you know what I'm saying? Because if you got 100 and you give the priest 10, right? And then the priest gives a tenth of that, that's going to be 1. So that's like 11% is put to the side that Levi gets. And of course, 1 plus 1 is 2. So if I have 100, I see people squinting their eyebrows that didn't do good in math around here. If I have 100 and I give Levi 10%, right? I give Levi 10%, right? Levi takes my 10% and he gives 10% of that to the priest. What is that going to be? No, 1%. All right. So let's do real math. If I have 100 pieces of corn, I give Levi 10 pieces of corn, and Levi takes that 10 pieces of corn and he gives the priest 1 piece of corn. How many pieces of corn does it's coming out of that 10. All right. It's coming out of that 10 and Levi's left with 9. Okay. So I guess I should have been squinting my eyes. So that's the 10%. But it's 10%, that's twice. 10% is deducted twice. Okay. Hey, you got Levi getting 10% from Levi getting 10% from us, then Levi gives 10% to the priest. So every Levite, y'all Levites out there, all of y'all can't be the priest. You had candle lighters, you had animal killers, you had incense lighters, you had temple cleaners, you had guards, you had all types of people in the temple, in the tabernacle, in the wilderness also. Every Levite wanted to be a priest. All y'all wasn't priests. Very small percentage of Levi was priests, right? Not the whole. It was only one family, and that was from Aaron's family. All right. Read the part again you just read.
Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land.
So verse 34, let Pharaoh put officers over the land. Go ahead.
And take up the fifth part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years.
So take up 20%, a fifth part, 1 out of every 5. All right, 1 out of every 5. And when you do that for all 7 years. Now, what Yahweh did, when you look in the Torah, Yahweh didn't make us have to quote unquote store stuff per se. Yahweh would give us a triple portion, right? A triple portion on the the 6th year. On the 6th year, he gave us enough harvest for 3 years, man. Can you imagine that? You can. I guess it is. I guess it is imaginable. But he gave us 10 times. He gave us 3 years worth of harvest. He blesses for 3 years of harvest when the produce came in. And everybody ate off of that. All right? The Levites can eat, right? We can eat, the priest can eat. Okay? All right, so with this right here, we said there's 7 plenteous years, 7 years of good. So when you got your paycheck, and you got overtime, you got extra money, are you buying medical supplies for when the stores are going to be shut down? Are you buying real light but absorbable gauze? Right? Are you buying any type of cream? Now remember, cotton gauze, not that old, what's the other kind of gauze? Polyester or non-woven gauze. Get you cotton. They sell gauze down here, like really at the fabric stores, man. Like really inexpensive. But you got to get real gauze to suck up that blood. All right, real gauze. So what are you doing when you get this extra money on your check? Are you buying things you're gonna need? You know what I'm saying? Are you buying are you sewing clothes and garments with wool that can get wet and then dry off real quick too? Are you doing that? You see? Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 41, verse 35.
Mm-hmm.
And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities.
Now, once again, when they say corn, this Bible was translated into English. The original word here is not corn. The original word here is a word that means grain. Okay, not corn. Corn is an old English word that means grain, not the corn that we're talking about now. Go ahead.
And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine.
So he's saying, prepare the land. Prepare for Pharaoh's kingdom to be okay by putting up this food so people can have food when the famine hits. So it's the leadership. So these leaders of these camps and congregations, are they preparing their people for when they don't have nothing? For when this economy, when this society, when this government starts to collapse? Are they huddled up in the city and going to be, sitting ducks when people start to shoot and rob and breaking in? Or do they have a plan to go someplace else that's going to be a little more rural, a little more hard to access, a little less accessible, kind of hard to access, hard to get to? But when you get there, you kind of settle in, don't have a lot to worry about. So Pharaoh, the Most High put in Pharaoh's mind, look, prepare for the worst, because the worst is coming. And we all know the worst is coming to America, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and it's been happening bad to our people in several places. So we know this bad is coming. So what is Joseph showing us? What is Pharaoh? What is the Most High showing us? Prepare for these worst events that are going to be happening. Go ahead.
And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh.
So Pharaoh said, you know what, Joseph, man, you all right, man. That's very good. This is a very good idea, Joseph. We're going to do this idea you have. Hey, Joseph is the man. Joseph, you have good idea, Joseph. You Hebrews are not so bad after all. You're not so bad, Joseph. But I tell you one thing right now, Joseph. I don't want you to go anywhere near my wife, okay? So Pharaoh, like, hey man, you can do this, man, but don't go nowhere near my crib, man. I don't play with my wife. All right, go ahead.
And in the eyes of all his servants.
So everybody like, yo, giving Joseph praise and glory, like, oh man, that's good. That's dope what Joseph is doing. Joseph got that fire plan to save us from the famine. All right, go ahead.
And Pharaoh said unto his servants, Can we find such a one as this is, a man in whom the spirit of Aliyah is?
So he said, a man in whom is the spirit of Aliyah. Now, so Pharaoh said, man, this is going to have to be a spiritual person that does this. And that's exactly what the Most High said. Not just he's a good city planner or he's a good public administrator. No, it takes a spiritual man of the Most High to get the people prepared. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the scripture in 2 Ezra chapter 2. All right. Now you can, we finished in the Bible right there. Go to 2 Ezra chapter 2. Hurry up. 2 Ezra chapter 2, verse 25 and verse 25 and 26. Read.
Nourish thy children.
Nourish thy children. Give the children of Israel what they need to be complete, to be able to function. That's what nourishment is. If I just sit here eating potato chips all day, and I just sit here eating Milky Ways all day, am I getting nourishment? I'm poisoning my body, right? All right, so this goes to a whole nother topic, so I'm not getting nourishment. So the basic nourishment of the law of the Bible is the law, is the Torah. All right, go ahead.
Oh, thou good nurse.
Oh, thou what?
Good nurse.
A good nurse is going to do what? Nourish the children. Take care of the people. So the Most High is showing you that the leadership of our people have to be able to nourish us. Have to be able to nourish us. They got to be able to nourish in all areas. Knowledge, understanding, wisdom. All right. Preparation. A spiritual man of Yahweh. Read.
Establish their feet.
Establish their feet meaning what? Teach them to be self-sufficient. That's what establish their feet means. Establish their feet means show them how to be self-sufficient. Show them how to operate independent, how to stand up on their own. That's what establish their feet means. So you take your feet and you stand up and you can stand by yourself. Meaning what? You kind of more independent. Walking to El Florido or going to driving to Calimax or going to Soriana, that's not establishing the feet. That's being held up by somebody else, right? Right? Establishing the feet is like, okay, here's the dirt, here's the tomato, here's the onion, go pick it. Here's the cucumber, go pick it. Here's the chicken, go get it. Take the feathers off, put it in the water, take it off, and you're going to kill it and eat it. Here's the eggs, go cook them. That's establishing the feet, and that's what we have to do. And that's what Joseph is showing Pharaoh how to do. And that's what we have to learn how to do as a people, especially in these last days that we're living in. Go ahead.
As for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish.
So these are people that sent and given by the Most High. Read.
For I will not require them among thy number.
Okay. For I will require them. The Most High saying that they're gonna have to be counted with you. All right. So let's go back into let's go into Ecclesiastes in the Bible. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 1. I read.
Who is as the wise man?
Who is as the wise man? Go ahead.
and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing.
Who knows the what?
The interpretation of a thing.
Joseph knew what?
The interpretation of a thing.
The Most High gave him what?
The interpretation of a thing.
Pharaoh wanted to know what?
The interpretation of a thing.
So he wanted to know the interpretation, right? So the Most High put the spirit in Pharaoh to have the dream. And then he put, why did the Most High give the dream to Pharaoh and not to Joseph? Amaria, why did he get a dream to Pharaoh and not to Joseph? Give me something else. Who got the answer?
Because Pharaoh had the power to get him.
But why did the Most High give Joseph the dream, the Pharaoh the dream instead of Joseph? Huh? Huh? Okay. Pharaoh got the power. Joseph can't do nothing with the dream. So all y'all are correct in what y'all said, but Joseph can't do nothing with his dream. Man, hey, Pharaoh, imagine him. Hey, man, can you give Pharaoh a message? Tell him that we're going to have 7 years of famine and then 7 years of good. Man, get out, man, slave. Tell him don't say nothing to me. Tell him don't mention my name no more. Let my name come out your mouth again, Joseph. Watch what happen to you. You see what I'm saying? So, no, Pharaoh, the Most High had to work through Pharaoh because Pharaoh got the power to make the dream a reality. Right? Joseph don't got that power. But now when Joseph get the power, now when he sees something, he can implement it. That's why Pharaoh is basically saying, I'm going to take the baton, I'm going to take my scepter, and I'm going to pass it off to you. And you're going to be the ruler because you are man of the Most High. So you had a person that was serving the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, ruling over Egypt in essence, but not enforcing the laws and the commandments of Yahweh. So Pharaoh doesn't have the position that Joseph has. Joseph is low, Pharaoh is high. So now the Most High is giving the interpretation of the dream to Joseph so that Pharaoh can have what in Joseph? Trust, and what else? Trust, faith, and what else? Belief, trust, faith, belief, confidence, right? And then Yahweh. I respect the God of Joseph. All y'all other dudes, you know, y'all might also go pick a rope because I'm about to hang all y'all. Because I don't think they're going to kill me. All right, so the scripture says in Ecclesiastes 8:1, who is a wise man and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? Read.
A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine.
A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine. That means that the wisdom of a person is going to pierce you. It's going to pierce your spirit, man. It's going to affect you. It's going to get a glow. It's going to get on you too. If you go in the sun and the sun is shining, so you think this word shine is a metaphor for being bright, but also a metaphor for being for being hot also. Remember his dream. The sun, the moon, the star. He's the star. And he's bright, and wisdom is coming off of him. And it's making his face to shine. Go ahead.
And the boldness of his face shall be changed.
So the strength, the boldness of his face shall be changed. So now he's moving to a higher level. But what does wisdom start with? The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. Everybody talking about wisdom, 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 but if you ain't keeping the commandments, you don't got no wisdom. You got the wisdom that James talks about in his book when he says that you got wisdom that's carnal, you got wisdom that's low. You don't got the holy high level wisdom. All right. Somebody can give good advice, and you know they've been married for 35 years and they got good advice on how to stay together, but that ain't gonna get you into the kingdom. All right, that's not going to get you into the kingdom. All right, James in James chapter 3, James chapter 3 verse 14 says, "But if you have bitter envy," and this is talking to all of our brothers today. If you have bitter envy and strife in your hearts, ain't brothers arguing back and forth on Facebook about, well, y'all don't know really, different doctrines, and people arguing about what to believe and what not to believe, and they have strife in their hearts. Glory not and lie not against the truth. And brothers using this as an opportunity to seek glory. I'm gonna seek glory by setting myself up and doing X, Y, and Z because of the strife that brothers have. So I'm gonna capitalize off of it. All right. He says what? He says, this wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. So you can look at people and see evil works, meaning what? They're going against the Torah. They're going against the commandments of the Most High. They violate the Sabbath. They say that, oh, the new moon is what determines the Sabbath. Or they say, oh, the crescent is what determines the Sabbath. Or they say, oh, the Sabbath is in Saturday afternoon. Or they say, oh, you know, your calendar's off because you're not using the crescent. Okay, well, anybody knows that the fourth pillar of wisdom is equity. There's no equity between a full moon being white and then a new moon being a little bit white. That's not equity. But because people don't read the Bible with the 7 pillars of wisdom, right? They don't understand what the Bible talks about, and they have nothing. They can't, in other words, they can't check their work. Because I can say 30 divided by 3 is what? 10. And then I can check my work by saying what? 10 times 3 is what? I can check my work. Wisdom makes you check your work when you're reading the scriptures and interpreting from the text. But because people don't do that, they think they got some type of wisdom or understanding of the Bible, but they're leading people into the slaughter, to death and hell and destruction. Okay, but the Most High says that, but the wisdom that is from above is first pure. So it's pure wisdom. It's clean. It's pure. It's based on righteousness. It's based on good things. It's based on, what is the first thing we see the Most High dealing with in Genesis 1? The light. Let there be light. Yahya award. So when we go into that, we should go back to Genesis 1 and be able to show what we're talking about. Okay? Pure, then peaceable. So it's full of shalom. It makes shalom in your spirit. Your word is shalom. Look at David. Well, I'm about to die, son, so I got some people I need you to kill. He was like, yeah, we got to kill these people. We're going to have to kill them. He was like, no, he's tripping a little bit, so you got to kill him, Solomon. I didn't want to do it when I was alive, but, you know, you take care of it for me. All right, son? So peaceable, then it says gentle. Wisdom is gentle. Wisdom from the Most High above is gentle. Okay, gentle and easy to be entreated. So interact and deal with stuff easily when you're dealing with wisdom. It ain't all hostile and mean and unnecessarily aggressive. Full of mercy and good fruits. Fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, long suffering. Without partiality and without hypocrisy. All right. So now Ecclesiastes, let's go back there. Okay, we read that Ecclesiastes. We read Ecclesiastes now when it says that who is wise and who knows the interpretation of a thing. Now let's go into the Apocrypha now, into Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 25. All right. chapter 10, verse 25. Con 3 and 7, Econon, those are very very spiritual numbers, man. 3, 7, 12, 40. Yeah, no one's really ready, man. No one's really ready, but together we can get ready. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you have to give up something, man. You have to give up something. But remember now, everybody got to understand the fact that I'm using all of my understanding that I'm giving you through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, coming from out the Torah. We started with the Torah. Then we moved into these other books of what? Wisdom. And then we're going to go into the scriptures about Yahweh Shai too, written by Paul through the Holy Spirit. All right, Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 25. All right, from the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus, or also called Sirach, chapter 10, verse 25. I read.
Unto the servant.
Unto the servant. Now Joseph is a what?
Servant.
He's a slave.
Servant.
He don't have power over his own life.
Servant.
He's in the dungeon.
Servant.
He was bought and paid for with money.
Servant.
He was kidnapped.
Servant.
Now he's a slave.
Servant.
So Joseph is a servant. So the Bible says that a servant that is what?
That is wise.
A servant has to walk in wisdom, no matter who his master was, whether it was his father, whether he was dealing with his brothers or whatever, whether he was dealing with Potiphar, whether he was in jail. It says what? A servant that is wise. And that's why wisdom always pops up. You can read so many things about wisdom in the scriptures and see how they go back to Jacob, go back to Isaac, go back to Abraham. And a lot of it goes back to Joseph, Yawasap, or Yusuf. All right. So now Joseph, what? Joseph is like the ham whisperer. You know how they got the horse whisperer or the dog whisperer. Then they have a movie called The Horse Whisperer with Robert Redford or something. It's called like The Horse Whisperer. That's talking about a person that can calm animals and calm these different spirits down inside of people or animal. He's a horse whisperer. So let's say Zayatan go up to a horse. Joseph can go and be like, Zayatan go and be like, calm down, boy. And the horse will be like, and put his head down for Zayatan to rub his mane and stuff. So you would call him like a horse whisperer. So Joseph is the what? Joseph is the what? Joseph is the ham whisperer, because he's dealing with Hamite leadership, Hamite kings, telling those Hamite kings that this is the way, all right, that this is the way you need to do this thing. So he's telling the Hamite whisperers this. He's telling the Hamite king and leader, this go ahead over there. This is what I need you to do. This is how you're going to do it. This is the interpretation from the Most High. All right. So yeah, the movie came out in 1998 with was it Robert Redford? I don't know who it is, but it's the horse whisperer. That's what Joseph is. He's the ham whisperer. He's whispering to the Hamites. Yeah, man, you gotta do this. All right. And then spiritual iconoclasm. What does that mean in the title? That Joseph is basically setting the stage for the Most High to just destroy all the gods of Egypt, but he's doing it real subtle and in the spirit right now, because he called them his own gods, right? And his own gods couldn't tell him nothing. That's why the scripture says that the gods of the nations are nothing. They nothing. And we see that demonstrated, with Joseph and how Joseph is interacting, all right, with Pharaoh. Pharaoh's gods were called on. Pharaoh called his little wise men. All right, his wise men couldn't tell nobody nothing. Right, if Pharaoh's little leaders, they couldn't tell anybody anything. They couldn't tell anybody anything. All right, they could tell anybody anything. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Unto the servant that is wise shall they that are free do service.
So unto the servants that are wise. So Joseph is a wise servant. Shall they that are free, these free Egyptians in their own society, are about to serve. Serve meaning what? Joseph's about to give orders and instruction, and they about to do what Joseph says to do, even though they're free and Joseph is a slave. Joseph is a servant. So the Most High is raising him up to do what he wants him to do. And now all of the people in Egypt, Montezaria, are going to bow down to Joseph. Are going to do what Joseph said to do. Why? Because Joseph is the man with the plan. All right. Now, Pharaoh is the man sitting next to the man, even though he's the king. But Joseph is the man. Joseph is showing him this what you need to do. The Most High told him. All right. So now Joseph is still a servant, but it's hard to forget. It's easy to forget that. But he's a servant. He's a slave. Right? Joseph is like a Kunta Kinte. All right. Or like a Dred Scott. Right? Joseph is like Nat Turner, but the story turned out a little differently. Joseph is like a Toussaint Louverture or like a Jean-Jacques Dessalines. All right, or Tecumseh instead, but Joseph was put into another land. Nobody invaded his land and took over and made him a slave. He was taken from the place of his family's residency, and then he was sold into Egypt as a slave. But now that slave is rising up now, and now everybody that's free is about to be serving him. Go ahead.
And he that hath knowledge will not grudge when he is reformed.
He that has knowledge will not grudge when he is reformed. So we see that happen with Joseph. Joseph got a little in his feelings a little bit, but he let it what? He let it slide. He said, you know what, man? I ain't gonna trip on y'all. I love y'all. Y'all my brothers. And he didn't hold that grudge. Okay? He didn't hold that grudge. Right? All right, let's go into verse 24.
Great men and judges and potentates shall be honored.
Right, so these leaders and big time people in society, the Most High saying, yeah, they get their little bit of honor or whatever. Read.
Yet there is none of them greater than he that feareth Yahweh.
But he that fears Yahweh is above and greater than all of them. He's greater than all of them. Okay. So Joseph is above everybody because he's walking in wisdom and because he's humble. And because whatever task is before him, you know, he's doing it like we read before. Whatever is put upon thee, take cheerfully. All right. Let's go on to 18:25. I need you to get someplace and be still and focus. All right. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 18 and let's read verse 25. All right, 18 and 25.
When thou hast enough.
So now, when you have enough, now this is talking to us personally. This is the wisdom we're going to take out of this. We talked about Joseph. Now let's get into some meat. When you have enough, like you got these 7 years of plenty. Read.
Remember the time of hunger.
Joseph is remembering like, oh, people are going to go hungry. So I got to put some stuff to the side. Read.
And when thou art sick, and when thou art rich.
When you are rich, when you have extra and excess. Read.
Think upon poverty and need.
Think about when you poor and when you in need. Okay. Think about when you poor and when you are going to be in need. So make those provisions now. Right? Because CVS, Similares, Roma, CVS, they're not always going to be there. Them drugstores ain't always going to be there. So what do you got to help you out when you don't have a drugstore to go to? So what Joseph is showing us is, look, when you got this plenty stored up, and that's what I'm trying to say. When you see Joseph doing things, Joseph is walking in wisdom before these things were written down inside of this book. And Yahweh is showing him what to do. And then Yahweh shows us, this is what y'all need to do. Store this food up. All right. Let's go into Ecclesiasticus chapter 11, and let's read verse 25. Okay, read.
In the day of prosperity.
In the day of prosperity, when you have enough, when you have a lot of stuff, prosperity, when you've prospered. Now, did not Yahweh tell Joseph, did not the scripture specifically tell us that the Most High made things that Joseph touched prosper? So in the time of the prosperity, go ahead.
There's a forgetfulness of affliction.
It said you're gonna forget. Now, don't we see this also happening with Joseph? What did Joseph name his son? Manasseh. Because it said that the Most High made me to forget all this evil and bad stuff that happened to me. So once again, Joseph demonstrates wisdom. Joseph is a shadow of wisdom. All right, let me get that real quick in the book of Genesis, and we almost finished. All right, we almost finished. Let's see, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 51. And Joseph called the name of his firstborn Manasseh, for Aliyah has made me forget all the toil in all my father's house. So he wasn't sad like he was before. He forgot the hard labor and the work that he had to do. So the Most High made him to forget that, but he still stayed humble. You see that? So in a day of forgetfulness, in the day of prosperity, there's a forgetfulness of affliction. So he forgot about his affliction. That's what the Bible literally just told us. He forgot about his toil. Isn't that what it said? So Joseph walks and shows us so many proverbs in his life that you gotta respect. You gotta respect the man. You gotta walk, in wisdom. All right. In the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction. Go ahead.
And in the day of affliction.
In the day of affliction. When Joseph was in that prison. All right. When Joseph was in that prison, when Joseph got accused of trying to rape that woman. All right. The Hamite harlot, the Zanab. All right. That tried to make Joseph commit adultery with her. All right. Try to get Joseph to lay with her. All right. In the time of affliction, go ahead.
There's no more remembrance of prosperity.
Joseph wasn't, oh yeah, man, I was doing good in Egypt, man. I was doing good when I was up in Potiphar's crib, man. Yeah. He forgot about all of that, man. So that's showing us how we need to make sure that when we are, in prosperity, all right, when we're in prosperity, that we remember and we conduct ourselves accordingly. That we remember and we make these any changes that we need to make to prevent any more problems from happening to us. All right. So these things don't just creep up on us. We got to be aware, we got to be prepared, and we have to be ready. We see Joseph doing this. The whole scripture is about us being judged. That's like the whole scripture about us being judged for good, positive, or for negative, for evil, for bad. Okay. All right, let's go one more. 1 Thessalonians chapter 1. First Thessalonians chapter 1. And we're gonna read only verse 10. First Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 10.
And to wait for his son from heaven.
All right, so First Thessalonians 1 and 10, it says that now we have to wait on Yahweh. Let's start with verse 9.
For they themselves show of us what manner of entering in we had unto you, and how ye turned to Elohim from idols to serve the living and true Elohim, and to wait for his son from heaven, whom he raised from the dead.
So Yahweh was raised from the dead, from a low place in the pit of the earth, like Joseph was taken from the pit of the earth, in a dead place, in a low place. Okay, go ahead.
Even Yahweh,
go ahead.
Which delivered us from the wrath to come.
So Yahweh has delivered us if we walk steadfast, if we walk in a way that pleases Yahweh. He has delivered us from what? From the wrath of Yahweh, which is ultimately going to end in what? The death, right? And Joseph is being used to deliver the people from what? From death. You see? So not only is Joseph an example or a, how do you call it? Not only is he a type or a shadow of wisdom, but he's a type and a shadow of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. Because the things that he does point one way or another. Point to wisdom or point to, Yahweh Shai. Either way. All right. So it says that Yahweh Shai, all right, Yahweh Shai delivered us from the wrath to come. So Joseph is being the wrath to what? To come. Meaning what? It's inevitable. It's unavoidable. That's what inevitable means. Like evitar. Everybody knows what evitar means, right? No me evites nomás. ¿Por qué estás evitándome? Porque tú sabes que tú me debes como 2,000 pesos y no quieres pagarme. All right. So he's saying that Yahweh Shai delivered us from the wrath that is to come. That will come, right? So this famine, it ain't maybe coming. It's not a possibility. It's not, it's not a gamble. It's definitely coming. So Joseph have to be in a position to protect and to deliver the people from this wrath of the Most High, from this judgment of the Most High. In the same way, by us following Joseph's example, being prepared spiritually and physically, and walking in, believing in Yahweh Shai, letting him, be a part of our spirit, our life, our walk, our actions, trusting and loving Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, which is the so-called black man that died for our sins, trusting and walking as him, believing in him as the Son, as the Messiah of Yahweh. What does that do? That protects us from the wrath that is to come, right? Protects us from the wrath that's to come. Otherwise, everything we do and talking about, means absolutely zero, nothing. If you don't use that as motivation and incentive to be like Yahweh Shai. Not to be like Mike, but to be like Yahweh Shai. Okay? So we have to really, we have to be like Yahweh Shai. We have to walk in that same path that the Most High walked in. All right? The Most High gave Yahweh Shai, rather, to walk in as the Son of the Most High. So this is all that we see from Joseph's dream. And what you're going to see is that the more we go into more of the Torah, as we go into more of the history of our forefathers, and then we get into specific commandments, then we're going to start to do what? We're going to start to extract the wisdom from the commandments. And then we're going to get more understanding of the commandments. Because it says, he that keepeth the commandments of Yahweh, getteth what? The understanding thereof. So you got to keep it to get the understanding. You got to keep it to get the understanding. If you don't keep it, you're not gonna get the understanding. So you have to do it. You have to live it. You have to know it. You have to walk it. If you don't do that, you're not gonna understand it. But walking it doesn't begin with you just today I'm not gonna cut my beard. Walking it, you have to do. What do you gotta do before you go on the trip? Before you walk, you gotta what? You gotta prepare for it. And that's what the scripture tells you about Ezra. It tells you Ezra set his heart right. He made up his mind to do exactly what the Most High said to do. God? All right, so I'm gonna sign off now. We're gonna do the marathon like we did yesterday. All right, we did yesterday like 2 hours. We're gonna do 1 hour 16 minutes today. 75 minutes, 76 minutes. All right, so yeah, that's about it. And then let me see if we're gonna go into this one. Let's go on to last verse, Psalms chapter 76, verse verse 4 and 5. Psalms 96, verse 4 and 5. I read that.
For Yahweh.
Who is Yahweh? He's the almighty power of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob. He's the creator of all things seen and unseen. He's the one that we worship, that we adore. He's the one that we love with all of our heart, all of our soul, and all of our might. Why are you putting that stuff on her? Don't do that. All right, go ahead. So Yahweh what?
Yahweh is great.
Yahweh is great, meaning he's big time. He's large. Go ahead.
And greatly to be praised.
And you got to praise him. You got to praise Yahweh greatly. He deserves to be praised. Read.
For he is to be feared above all gods.
He's to be feared above Outset.
All gods.
Isis.
All gods.
Ra.
All gods.
All these gods that the Egyptians have couldn't do nothing for Pharaoh when the Most High gave him that dream. So Yahweh is to be feared above all gods. Read.
For all the gods of the nations.
All the gods of the nations are what?
Are idols.
Are idols. They're not real. They're just something that somebody carved out. They're not real. They're just idols, not a power. They're idols. Read.
But Yahweh made the heavens.
But Yahweh made the heavens. So these gods are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens. Meaning what? They didn't make nothing. All they made was a way into somebody's imagination. Okay? So Yahweh is the great power above everything. So when Joseph comes into Egypt, he's basically smashing all the idols of Egypt, but he's doing it in the spirit first. He's doing it in the spirit first. That which is flesh, that which is spirit. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. So the Most High got Joseph coming in saying, okay, you're going to beat this thing in the spirit first. So all the gods of Egypt couldn't tell Pharaoh what his dream meant. Couldn't tell Pharaoh what the 7 years, what the 7 ears of corn were, what the 7 cows were. Couldn't tell him anything. Then the Hebrew, Joseph, Yahweh comes in and says, man, this is what the dream means. And break it down like an organic compound. All right? Breaks it down for him. That's what it means, man. Breaks it down perfectly. Or these other gods of Egypt, Joseph, Yahweh, he took all the power away from these gods now. They ain't got no power now. Joseph took their power through Yahweh, right? Joseph took all the power. That's like you know, we at a college and we asking all the professors, blah 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 blah, and the professor's like, no. And then one of y'all was like, well, this is the answer. And that's how you're supposed to handle a situation like that. And then the president of the university is like, okay, so what do we need to do next? Right? Can you help us? Because these people over here worshiping these other gods, man, they don't got no understanding of what just happened. And Joseph heard, I mean, when Pharaoh heard it, he was like, okay, man, that's about right. That's okay. Yeah. Who's gonna do this then, Joseph? And we're gonna see who's gonna do it tomorrow on the next chapter of the adventures of Joseph in Egypt. Right? So tomorrow we're gonna understand, okay, what's gonna happen. And once again, these things are showing us what? Stand firm and strong in the word of the Most High. All right. Even on this Hanukkah season, stand on them commandments, man. Be like the Maccabees. Right? Be like the Maccabees. All right. Okay, what's going on, Dawad? All right, I got my number. Let me see that. Let me see. Yeah, I got you on the inbox. I think I got all your contact information. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up, huh? I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna call you. All right, so we got that. Everybody got that, right? Everybody got that. So, gods are nothing. All these other gods, they nothing. You can't tell the people that, because the demons are working through these people to do things. The demons are working through people that worship them to do certain things for the people. Do different types of enchantment and different types of witchcraft and stuff, all right? But there's no enchantment against us. No divination can do anything against the children of Israel. That's Numbers 23:23. There's no witchcraft, no enchantment, nothing that works against us. When we are in the spirit of Yahweh, when we are in the spirit of our forefather. All right, so that's about it. So we got that Ecclesiastes 8:1, Ecclesiasticus 10:25, Ecclesiasticus 18:25, Ecclesiasticus 11:25. Check that out too. I didn't do that by design. How all them 252525, and that's 777. I play that number. I play that number tomorrow. 777. Somebody in Believe play the Bolito for me. The Bolito. And the Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians 1:10. All right, so that's what we went over. All right, that's what we went over. And it's like it leads you. There's so many books, man, that give you understanding. Sometimes a lot of them are coming from the same book. All right, when we did yesterday with Joseph, a lot of scripture about Joseph were coming out of no, that wasn't yesterday. That was Yeshab, the third day of the Parashah last week. Came out of Psalms. Today was Ecclesiasticus. Okay, and we got to see Yahweh shine too in what Joseph is going through. All right, so that's about it. The next day for the new moon is going to be so-called Thursday night, which is the 6th. No working on the new moon. The new moon is from December 6th until December 7th. Can't work on that day. Can't do your own pleasures on that day. All right, the 6th to the 7th. Passover begins on April 18th to April 18th to April 19th. That's the first day, which is a holy convocation. All right, the last day is April 24th to April 25th. Y'all be sitting there waiting like, Go ahead. Take the 25th. No, 24th. That's a you. That was 25th. Then Simeon, it says Simon. So, but you need people around you that's going to, correct you. Especially, it's a scripture on that too. Go to Ecclesiasticus. I want you to read this. Go into the Apocrypha. Go into the book of Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus. Are you there? In the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus, you in that book? Chapter 37, verse 12. Verse 12.
But be continually with
a what?
With a godly man.
A man that remind you of the Most High, of the powers, of righteousness, of obedience, of uprightness. Not just a clown, not just funny, not just mean, not just want to beat people up, but somebody that the scripture says is godly. Read.
Whom thou knowest.
Whom thou what?
Whom thou knowest.
So I know. Whom I know to do what?
To keep the commandments.
So what I know about him is that he keeps the commandments. So what I know about him is that he doesn't break the commandments. So whom thou knowest to keep the commandments. Read.
Of Yahweh.
To keep the commandments of Buddha.
Of Yahweh.
Of Christianity.
Of Yahweh.
Of Christmas.
Of Yahweh.
Of Easter.
Of Yahweh.
Keep the commandments of Yahweh. So the scripture says always hang out with a brother that you know keep the commandments. That means if I know you don't keep the commandments, we ain't really gonna be rocking like that. I don't rock with you like that. I don't kick it with you like that because you don't keep the commandments. Read.
Whose mind is according to thy mind.
So meaning that he is trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do, which is get into the kingdom through obedience without compromising. Read.
I will sorrow with thee.
He's gonna be sad with me if I do what?
If thou shalt miscarry.
If I drop the ball, if I do something against the laws of the Most High, he gonna be sad. Man, why you do that, man? You shouldn't have held that grudge against that brother. Let it go, man. You can't be doing that Parashah. Oh man, you're right, man. I should let it go. Yeah, that nigga ain't worth it anyway. But yeah, you hold a grudge against somebody. But bro, like, yeah, man, not somebody like, yeah, man. I mean, you got a right to feel you feel a man, and don't forget that dude, and man, yeah, blah 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 blah. So I'm like, nah, man, let it go, man. You gotta be like Spirit of Yahweh, man. What Yahweh say? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. What did Lauren Hill say? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Right? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. So Lauren Hill said that she got it from Yahweh, though. All right. So the scripture says that you always be with somebody. And that was just a little slide because I was joking about correcting me when I might misread something, but you need somebody that's going to tell you the truth, man. Not no fair weather friend. Like Johnny Gill talked about fair weather friend, right? Fair weather. You know, you need a friend that's going to tell you whether you down or up, that's going to be there for you and with you according to the laws and the commandments of the Most High, and walking in obedience to the commandments and in obedience to the statutes of the Most High, man. That's the type of brother, the type of sister that you people need around you, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, so yeah, I'm gonna call you Dawad. I'm gonna call you out. All right, so now we see, man, that we always gotta be in that environment to get that correction according to the scripture. That's the only way you're gonna get stronger. All right, so that's about it. We talk. Next new moon is December 6th at night until the 7th at night. Passover is April 18th at night to April 19th at night. That's the first day of Passover, which is a holy day, Feast of Unleavened Bread. All right, a holy convocation. And the last day is going to be on April 24th at night until April 25th at night, which is also a holy day for a holy convocation, holy makwara'a, holy time of getting together, celebrating and having fun, celebrate good times. Come on, it's a celebration. That celebrate what Yahweh did for us when He brought us out of the belly of the beast, out of the house of bondage. All right, according to what we see in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2, out of the house of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, out of Egypt. Like the Most High, I'm the Yahweh, thy power that brought you out of the house of, out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. All right. So those so we celebrate that on Passover coming up, and then once the next new moon comes, we're gonna start announcing when the new moon is after that. All right. And right now we're in Hanukkah. We're in the 4th day now of Hanukkah, which Hanukkah is about keeping the commandments, walking upright before the Most High, and willing to put everything on the line to do it. All right. Put everything on the line, no matter how good you read, how good you don't read, no matter how good you smell, no matter how handsome, cute, pretty, and attractive you are, or the opposite of all of that. If you ain't willing to stand up for the commandments of the Most High, then the Most High have a place eternally for you to get that judgment. And you don't want to be on the Most High. You don't want to have the Most High angry with you and mad at you because you want to be disobedient to Him. Everybody got that? So you have to walk in obedience to the commandments of Yahweh. You have no choice if you want to live. You got to walk in His obedience. You got to walk in His commandments, His definition of obedience, not our own. All right? Our own, I forgot, I didn't know, or nobody told me. Most High don't go for none of that. All right? He don't go for nothing. When the day of judgment comes, it's going to be sheep and goat. That's it. Good and righteous. Bad and obedient. That's it. Who's doing the right thing and who's doing the wrong thing. That's it. So Maccabees was about brothers that was trying to make a stand. Women that were keeping the commandments and they got hung. All right? They got hung. So, they got hung and they hung their children on their breasts. How they did that, I have no idea. But that's what they said they did to the woman. All right. So when you read that book of Maccabees, which hopefully we can get into some of it tomorrow, some of the book of Maccabees tomorrow during the day, have another class about it. Everybody, meet up and gather together and sit down and go over the scriptures about, what exactly happened. A lot of people look at Maccabees, what happened, but we have to look at the events that happened before that, and we have to be willing to live that type of lifestyle, which is a lifestyle of Yahweh or nothing. It was Yahweh or nothing. We got to stop being punks and to be afraid of Gentiles. We got to stop being afraid of losing something because we want to be disobedient. We don't want to lose a job. We don't want to lose a house. We don't want to lose money. We don't want to lose a woman. We don't want to lose a spouse. We don't want to lose a child. Because if we do the commandments, then we're going to lose something. You got to be willing to lose everything to obey the Most High if it comes down to that. And that's what the Maccabees shows us. That's what Hanukkah shows us. Keep those commandments. And when they were keeping the commandments and fighting, then the Most High gave them the victory over their enemies. He gave them the victory once they said, you know what, we're willing to fight and die for this truth. Then the Most High said, okay, now I got you. Now I got you. Now I'm going to help out. When they say, you know what, I'm totally sold out. When they kept that first commandment, which is loving Yahweh, Aliyah now with all of our heart, soul, and might. Okay? With all of our Labab, Napash, and Ma'ad. So once Yahweh saw that we were loving him with everything, then he said, okay, now we can go ahead and most I get giving all types of visions and Jeremiah and golden swords and everything. So then after that, they won the battle. So if you want to move to a high level spiritually in the Israelite society or culture or whatever, you got to keep the commandments, man. We have to walk in obedience to the commandments of Yahweh, and we have to believe on his son, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right. And even like we see with Joseph, Joseph stayed diligent. All right. Joseph stayed diligent. Joseph was sincere. All right. Joseph was sincere. Joseph was diligent. And Joseph didn't, he didn't take no shortcuts. Maccabees brothers didn't either. Judas Maccabees didn't. Jonathan didn't. Okay. John Hyrcanus, one of their descendants, they didn't take no shortcuts, right? Jason, they didn't take no shortcuts. They did exactly what the Most High said to do, and they were willing to fight and die for it. And they fought hard enough, and they kicked the Greeks, the white people, out of their country. And when we came to this part of the world, who were the first people that did that kicked the white people out of land? Who were the first people that did that? Mm-hmm. Who were the first people that did that?
Levites.
The Levites did it. The Levites were the first one to say, "You gotta get out of here, man." They fought them French and got them out, just like the Levites did in the scriptures. Just like the Levites we did under Moses. Always a Levite that was at the forefront, pushing our people toward freedom. But now Levi done forgot what his job is. He's too busy trying to follow Judah, doing breakdowns and following all the other tribes and just taking orders from people. And Levi is not just another. Levi is a tribe of spiritual leadership for the nation, man, under the commandment. All Levi is not priests. Y'all Levites got to stop calling yourself priests, man. Y'all ain't priests from the family of Aaron. How come nobody's the candle lighter? Everybody got to be, I'm no priest. I'm from Aaron's family. No, all y'all not from Aaron's family. And the Most High said that only from Aaron's family, the descendants of Zadok is going to be the one that's going to be his priest. So even the priests that are legitimately from the family of Aaron, even all them families aren't accepted by the Most High. He said that only Zadok is going to be accepted at the temple. All right. All right, so that's it. Anybody got any questions? Okay. All right, so yeah, but I could come Yahweh by Shem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai, or you can close us out.